when you identify, you've got three basic options. You can use the three property rule that allows you to identify any three properties you want. Doesn't really matter how expensive they are. For example, you could identify the Sears Tower in Chicago, the IDS Tower in Minneapolis, and the Mega Mall in Bloomington. Those are three distinct properties. Doesn't matter that they're super expensive, it's just that it's three or fewer properties that you've listed. Under an alternative rule called the 200% rule, you can list any number of properties, an infinite number of properties, but you're capped at the value. The value of all of those identified properties in aggregate cannot exceed twice the value of what you relinquished. So let's say that you sold a property for $10 million. You could list up to $20 million. That is your ceiling under which all of your designated properties can't exceed. But there's a problem with the 200% rule, and you might have thought about it yourself. Value is subjective. If I want to list the Fauché Tower as one of my replacement properties, how do I know how much it's worth if I don't have a meeting of the minds with the seller? If I don't have a contract price negotiated, it's just a guess what the property's worth. So that makes it difficult to implement. A final rule or exception is called the 95% exception. Under that rule, you could list more than three properties, more than 200%, but you've got to purchase and actually receive to complete your exchange 95% of all of the properties that you listed. So let's say that you listed 100 oil and gas wells on your identification form, and one of those wells ran dry. So you said, I'm not going to buy the dry well. That's not going to be a good use of my money. Well, your identification is probably still valid, provided that one well that you took out of the list wasn't more than 5% of the total value of that group. So you're still receiving at least 95% of the entire portfolio that you identified. By the way, as an aside, anything that you purchase and you receive within the 45-day period will be considered identified by virtue of you having closed on it. So you don't have to make a written identification if you close on the property within that 45-day period, but you're deemed to have identified it, and you should include it on your 45-day list if you're still identifying more properties that will be received after the 45th day. So it still counts as one of your identified properties. It takes up a slot.